Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Loddick, and I'm volunteering as your moderator for this session. And thank you for joining us for this Zoom meeting session, Holy Ground, the Heart of Black Theater. We invite you to turn on your camera if you're comfortable and able to join with video during the Q&A and conversations. To minimize the background noise, we do ask that you stay on mute when you're not talking. And if you'd like to ask a question, use the raise hand feature inside the participants tab. And you're also invited to submit your questions via chat in the Zoom screen, and we will address them throughout, but mostly probably at the end of the session. And if you're having any tech or connectivity issues with the event software, we suggest utilizing the Chrome browser. It may also be helpful to follow the direct Zoom meeting invite, which is in the session description. So it looks like we're ready to go. So now I'm very pleased to turn this session over to Jackie Alexander, Artistic Director of the North Carolina Black Repertory Theater. So Jackie, take it away.
Thank you, Linda. Good afternoon. I'd like to thank Heather and the Artist Thrive Summit staff for inviting me to speak today and spread the gospel of the National Black Theater Festival, NBTF. For those of you not familiar with NBTF, it's a 6-day event held the first week in August of every odd-numbered year that attracts upwards of about 65,000 people. The festival home is in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and it's produced by the North Carolina Black Repertory Company. Winston-Salem has now been crowned Black Theater Holy Ground on a global scale because of the festival. So how did one of the most unique events in the world, and one that I believe is the heart of Black theater, end up in a small southern town? The answer to that question is Larry Leon Hamlin, NC Black Rep's founder. Mr. Hamlin was a larger-than-life creative force and producing genius. He coined the term Marvtastic, which means nothing greater or better than, to describe the festival. It's a term that festival goers would later use to crown their leader. You see, to us, Larry Leon Hamlin is known as simply Mr. Marvtastic. It all began in 1988 at a theater conference in Atlanta, where Mr. Hamlin, who 10 years earlier had founded NC Black Rep, heard a discussion about the dire straits facing numerous Black theaters across the country. He decided that he would take on the challenge of uniting these companies with the goal of ensuring the survival of Black theater into the new millennium. His dream was an event where companies could be able to perform their work, share issues and resources, troubleshoot challenges faced by all, and kind of just raise the importance and show the quality of their work on a national level. His dream was really a National Black Theater Festival. To start the process, Mr. Hamlin approached Dr. Maya Angelou, who was a resident of Winston-Salem and also a professor at Wake Forest, to assist him. She agreed and became the first chairperson of the National Black Theater Festival in 1989. Now, when you go to Dr. Angelou, you bring, when you get her on your side, you bring a lot with you. So at that first festival, she invited as celebrity guest talk show host Oprah Winfrey and the entire cast of the off-Broadway production, The Blacks, a production which Dr. Angelou had starred in, and one that included James Earl Jones, Roscoe Lee Brown, Lou Bassett Jr., Cicely Tyson, Charles Gordon, and Godfrey Cambridge. Now that's not a bad guest list to start off your first festival. The inaugural National Black Theater Festival was held August 14th through the 20th, 1989, and its theme was a celebration and reunion of spirit. The festival offered 30 performances by 17 of America's best Black theater companies. It attracted national and international media coverage, with the New York Times calling it one of the most historic and cultural events in the history of Black theater and American theater in general. Mr. Hamlin's dream was now a reality, one that as of today has generated over $230 million to the economy of Winston-Salem. Funny thing is, I'm told that when Mr. Hamlin started the festival, there were some in the Winston-Salem community that were not thrilled with the idea. They were concerned with, what could be a very large number of Black people descending on the city all at one time. Wouldn't there be fights, crime, drugs? Well, 30 years later, 31 years later now, every resident I encounter, every Winston-Salem resident I encounter speaks of the festival with an infectious pride. I mean, everybody knows about it. Everybody wants to know when it's coming back. How can I help out? How can I volunteer? It's just, they've adopted. I mean, NBTF is really the crown jewel of the city, whose official moniker is the City of Arts and Innovation. So the festival has come a long way, and the community has really pushed it along and became its biggest champion. Over the years, NBTF has welcomed a list of Black theater legends: Sidney Poitier, Harry Belafonte, Ruby Dee, Ossie Davis, Cicely Tyson, Denzel Washington. The list goes on and on. But more importantly, it's become a place of communion for Black theater, for the Black theater community, really. In 2007, NBTF was dealt a blow that, I remember a lot of people saying that was going to be the end of it. When we lost Mr. Hamlin, he passed away in September of 2007. However, an army of supporters clad in purple and gold, which are the colors Mr. Hamlin chose for the company and the festival, a nod to the royalty he saw in his people, they all rallied behind the leadership of Mr. Hamlin's widow, Sylvia Sprinkle Hamlin, a woman who picked up the mantle and just was determined to take NBTF to even greater heights, no matter the sacrifice. I always say NBTF may have been birthed by a king, but it's being sustained by a queen. 2019, last year's festival, marked the 30th anniversary of NBTF and was the most successful festival to date. It featured an opening night celebrity gala, over 100 performances of fully staged performances, productions from 30 national and international theater companies, a 4-day international colloquium on Black theater, upwards of 50 new play readings, screenings of about 20 films, a nightly poetry jam, a celebrity youth talent showcase, countless seminars and workshops, and I'm not covering everything. And yes, that all takes place over 6 days. And for anyone thinking it, let me confirm for you that yes, that is a logistical nightmare that I have no idea how it gets accomplished. I tell people I've been here about 4 years, probably have to be here about 20 years to really just get down exactly what's going on over those 6 days. It's just, there's always something to do from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. But as big as the festival is, that doesn't stop NC Black Rep from growing the festival each year. At the 2019 NBTF, we added Shakespeare at Sunset, a collaboration with the Arts Council of Winston-Salem and the North Carolina School of the Arts that produced 12th Night, or What You Will, Man, at the Winston-Salem Park Amphitheater. Now, I know many of you are saying that's not the name of the play. Well, that's because we set our production on the island of Jamaica. We tossed out the Shakespearean songs and replaced them with Bob Marley classics. This idea was the brainchild of the show's director, Mr. Ted Lange, a longtime festival supporter and someone most of you probably remember from his classic role as Isaac on the TV series The Love Boat. Another new addition at the 2019 festival was 48 Hours in Holy Ground, produced by Harlem 9. Now this, we invited 6 playwrights, each write a 15-minute piece which reimagined a classic from Black theater that had been performed at the National Black Theater Festival. The plays were cast, rehearsed, and produced over 48 hours as an evening of shorts at the festival. The most exciting thing about this component was the fact that we cast the shows with actors at the festival. I remember coming to festivals, I always wanted to perform on the NBTF main stage. Last year, all you had to do was show up to make that happen. And we had a line of people auditioning. It was great. We held auditions over 2 days. And it was so exciting because every single show sold out. So that was really great, not only to perform at the festival, but to perform at a hit at the festival. Probably the most exciting new addition at last year's festival was the inaugural presentation of the Sylvia Sprinkle Hamlin Rolling World Premiere Award to Nambi E. Kelly for her play Phenomenal Woman, Maya Angelou. This award, which will be presented at each festival going forward, promises the winning play a celebrity stage reading at the festival. Last year we had Tanya Pinkins playing the lead role in Phenomenal Woman, killed it. And following that, 3 regional premieres. The participating theaters in our inaugural Rolling World premiere are NC Black Rep, Hattie Lou Theater in Memphis, and the Ensemble Theater in Houston. And we're really excited about that. We've actually grown it to 5 theaters for the 2021 award. I've always been frustrated, as I'm sure you are, when you see a great play and you call friends who might be in another town or even in the same city, like, oh, this play is great, and closes, and you never hear about it again. So correcting that wrong, or even putting a dent and making a change to that, feels really, really good. And while the COVID-19 pandemic has definitely wreaked havoc on the Rolling World premiere schedule, our production was originally scheduled for May of 2020. It's been pushed to June of 2021. Hattie Lou pushed from September of 2020 to October of 2021. The ensemble has pushed from January of 2021 to February of 2022. So, that's been frustrating to say the least, but I'm thrilled to share. This first Rolling World premiere project has really proved to be more successful than we could have ever dreamed. Because just last month, producers David Rich and J. Todd Harris announced that they would be collaborating with NC Black Rep to bring Phenomenal Woman to Broadway. This is the very reason the Sylvia Sprinkle Hamlin Rolling World Premiere Award was created, And it signals a return to Black theaters having a voice in defining future classics of the genre. We've been talking about it since it was announced, getting calls from all these Black theater leaders, and we can't remember the last time a show took a route of going through Black theaters to be developed for Broadway. So we're just thrilled and very excited about that. NC Black Rep also produced at last year's festival, and I had the honor of directing as our opening night production, George C. Wolfe's Jelly's Last Jam. Aside from the fact that I love the show, it's one of the first Broadway shows I'd ever seen, the most exciting thing about this production was it served as a sort of reunion for the Broadway show. We had almost all of the surviving original cast members from that show in attendance at the show. We had Keith David, who played Chimney Man in the original Broadway productions, Tanya Pinkins, who was Sweet Anita, Savion Glover, Young Jelly, and Stanley Mathis, who was Jack the Bear in the original production. Stanley was actually on stage again this time around. He took on the role as Chimney Man in NC Black Rep's production. So it was just amazing, to see a show, one of your first Broadway shows in New York, fall in love with it, and then 20 years later, direct a production where all the stars are in attendance. I gotta be honest, it doesn't get any cooler than that. I was on cloud 9 the whole night. The biggest project for NC Black Rep at last year's festival, and arguably its biggest project ever outside of NBTF, was starting production on the feature documentary Holy Ground, The Legacy of the National Black Theater Festival. which explores the cultural significance of NBTF, celebrates its founder, Larry Leon Hamlin, and profiles its producer, the North Carolina Black Repertory Company. We shot the entire 2019 festival, over 130 hours of footage. We will be shooting additional footage. We'll be shooting the world premiere of Phenomenal Woman next year, and we'll be shooting the 2021 National Black Theater Festival. That's all in addition to the 30 years of archival footage that we have from past festivals. So in short, our editor is not going to have much of a social life over the next 2 years. None of us will as we piece this together, but that was one of the first projects I wanted to work on when I arrived as artistic director. It's just the festival is so important to so many, and it's really impossible to explain or, show pictures or anything really to capture the energy and excitement of the festival. But with the film, what we're trying to do is come as close as you can to trying to capture that energy. So what I'd like to do now, to give you a taste of what I'm talking about, is share the first look trailer of Holy Ground, the legacy of the National Black Theater Festival.
One word that sums up your feelings about the festival.
Let's see. Probably amazing.
Give me a second one.
Ginormous. I'm gonna say it again. Ginormous.
Winston-Salem? That's where you have the National Black Theater Festival, the International National Black Theater Festival, Winston-Salem. It don't make no sense. No, it's not supposed to make sense, man. It's supposed to be done.
This is what makes our country so incredibly powerful. These are the things that we are to celebrate, all Americans.
Black theater is a very spiritual theater. We're very spiritual people. And I think that
actors and people who want to come here but don't know how to get here. And we do all we can to let them know, but they want to come.
People say, you need to have something like this out in California. I said, no, we don't. I said, because it would not work in California.
You know what I'm saying? The bronze head that we have down there honoring him, that was here when he was alive, so.
And he told me one time, I'm gonna live forever, Jones. I said, oh man, put brakes on that, man. Nobody does that. He says, Herm, I'm Larry Leon. I'm going to live forever. And now I see what he means.
Now, this festival, I'm saying, is going to be a nuclear explosion. This festival is going to be a nuclear explosion. It's going to be marvetastic. And when we leave here, in addition to leaving $15 million to the local economy, we're going to leave a big hole in the city where the city won't be here because the explosion would just have wiped it out.
We are finally here. Time to do what we came to do. Welcome to Holy Ground.
Larry had a passion for this festival.
The National Black Theater Festival is one of the most historic and culturally significant events in the history of black theater.
This was a perfect place for a playwright to hustle, for a director to go around and say, you need a, hey, come on.
Talking to Oprah Winfrey, Maya Angelou, Lou Gossett, Cicely Tyson.
It doesn't matter how many times you have successfully proven yourself. You will always have to prove yourself.
I think what it does is, in presenting it, it raises an awareness. It raises an awareness amongst all the people who come as audience that this is happening, and it's happening in spades.
It's pretty exciting, man.
You can see work that is fresh and new and cutting edge that you just can't find every place.
It's beautiful.
Everybody except Denzel. He came 2 years later.
Sing a song full of the hope that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought.
Thank you, Oldenburg, and keep raising that money for us. Thank you.
Planning is underway for the 2021 festival right now, and we've got some really exciting initiatives that we're going to be able to include in that festival. One is we're working on a new scholarship for emerging artists of color, which is going to be a partnership with SETC and the Black Theater Network. We're also very excited, and I'm thrilled that we're going to be able to put this in the movie. We've collaborated with Theater Communication Group, TCG, on an NBTF anthology book project. And that book is planning, our plan is to have it ready by the 2020 festival. So, you know, little blessing in disguise, all of that will be captured with the film. So we've been really, we don't know what the festival is going to look like in 2021 right now. You know, we've got about 5 contingency plans. The hope is that the world is spinning again next August, and we can actually have people and celebrate, and because again, it's a reunion. So really that spirit of being there and seeing each other, that's one of the most important aspects of the festival. So we really hope we can gather again in 2021 to hold the festival. But like I said, if not, we're looking at some streaming options and maybe reducing the size of the festival, outdoor theater. I mean, right now, everything's on the table. As you all probably know, the issue is the situation seems to change every other month. So you make a plan and that plan's out the window the next day. But, you know, we're committed to building on the festival's legacy and continuing to grow it. And one of our main goals is to attract a younger audience. Most of the people who come to the festival have been coming for years. And I know when I was in acting school, that's all I heard about was the festival. So we want to make sure we capture that next generation of kids and theater lovers to become a part of the festival family. So thanks again. I'm so sorry I couldn't play the video for you, but thank you for inviting me to talk about the National Black Theater Festival, and I hope all of you can join us August 2nd through the 9th of 2021 for the National Black Theater Festival. And if anybody has any questions or anything, Linda, I can take those now. I haven't looked in the chat.
Okay, great. We don't have any currently in the chat, but if anyone has questions, now is the time. Thank you so much, Jackie, for your presentation. We'll all go to your website and see that trailer for sure.
Please, yes.
I was looking forward to that, so I'm sorry that I know you feel badly about that, but everybody understands because we've all had it happen to us. But does anybody have any questions right now for Jackie? Oops, there is one in the chat. Let's see. Will you propose a partnership with the Winston-Salem-Forsyth County Schools?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that question because we have NC Black Rep, the parent company. We are doing a production in February. It's going to be an on-demand production of Freedom Summer, which tells the story of the 1964 Voting Rights Act in Mississippi. We're doing that for Black History Month. Offer 3 performances, again, on demand to our audience. But one of the things I found in developing this play is I talked to students, and so many of them had no idea what this project was about. They didn't know anything about the Freedom Riders. And so I'm working with some school systems to try and make the video available for on demand for schools to stream in schools. So I don't know who answered the question, who asked the question, but my email address is jackie@ncblackrep.org. If you have any connects or anybody you can connect me with to possibly set up a partnership there, I would love to do that because I'd love to stream that play. The playwright is actually also a professor and has a study guide to go along with the production. So I think it would be perfect for Black History Month.
Absolutely, great. The person that asked the question is Melisha Woodbury. She is chair of the school board and would like I like our district to involve our students and staff interested in theater. Contact is Rebecca McKnight. So that's in the chat. Yay, that was
great. Thank you.
Great participation. Any other questions right now?
I have a comment. I moved to Greensboro in 2014 and worked at Triad Stage for 3 years and did not attend Black Theater Festival until last year. And I had no idea how big and how exciting and how thrilling an event it was. So thank you for doing that for Winston-Salem. I'm sorry that it took me so long to get there, but I will be back for sure.
Thank you for becoming a part of the family. We just have to get you there one time. Once we get
That's true. But everyone should come. It was thrilling to see so many people downtown.
I echo what Liza says too. It is an amazing festival, and for those of you who want to know more, please go to the website. We're so fortunate to have Winston-Salem as the destination for the festival, and we can't say enough great things about it. So I echo, everything Liza said. I love going. So we're always there to help you along the way too, Jackie. So any other questions that anyone has at this time? No? Okay.
I have a question actually. Sorry, I was trying to see if I could pull the video too, to see if I could troubleshoot that. But I did want to ask, is there a way that you all are working on kind of creating a virtual space potentially, and or is that part of this next 2-year plan within creating some buzz for the festival and or potentially reaching out to younger audiences?
We are, the chaos of this whole situation has forced everyone to think a new way. And it's actually opening up some new avenues. So we've been working, our first streaming production, the company's first streaming production, is going to be on October 29th. It's called The Resurrection of Alice. And it's actually a free offering to give people an idea of, what it's like to experience live theater, experience theater on demand online. But we're actually working on several platforms, developing our own platforms to use in reaching an even wider audience. And also, like you said, creating, if you can't make it to the festival, creating some virtual events, even if we can go back to doing the festival at full force, still having some virtual events where people can get a taste of the festival. So yes, that's definitely in the plans. We just don't know how big it might, depending on what happens, it could be much bigger or we'll just be developing in the coming years.
Can I ask another question? This is such a challenging time for me as a theater artist because things are turning into such a virtual space. So I wonder if there is any relationship with trying to incorporate I guess more I'm curious about how are you creating the urgency for meeting in person in a time when we're switching things over to being dependent on being virtual.
Ask that one more time, the end of it.
How do you look at it to engage with the younger audience of the TikTokers and the Instagram Reels folks that don't see the value in doing things in person because there is this editing and this kind of glamorized way? What's your stance on that, bridging that gap?
Our hope is we've been doing a lot of artist profiles of people on TV, people they'll recognize, musicians, someone who will attract them, to get on their radar. Get on their radar so they know what's going on. Then we do a lot of free events. We're offering, the 48 Hours in Holy Ground. That attracted a lot of young people because they're like, oh, I'll go, I might be able to perform, which a lot of them did. We're adding another component at the 2021 festival. That's the same thing. We're going to cast it with actors, mainly younger actors, at the festival. So it'll be another reason to get there. And as I shared earlier, we believe once we get them there, because online is great. Edited content that looks perfect is very nice. But there's nothing compared to live theater. When you walk in a theater and sit in the room and feel the energy of the people there and the actors are right there. Like I said, normally, even the young kids, once we get them in there, they walk, it's like, oh, I had no idea, So the kind of plan or strategy is to attract them online, to make sure they're aware of us online, get them to the theater. And once we get them to the theater, we feel like we'll be able to hold them. And we're also partnering with theaters around the country. In New York, we have the Rolling World Premiere Project that'll always be taking us to other cities. So they know about our work. And again, events like this, I'm always surprised when people don't know about it, when young Black actors don't know about it. Mm-hmm. And that's partially our responsibility. We got to work a little harder to make sure they know about it. So that's another, the Emerging Artist Scholarship for emerging artists of color. That's another way to reach out to a younger generation and say, hey, you need to get to Winston-Salem every odd numbered year. Because again, when I was in acting school, that's all I heard. From the time I arrived in New York, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know why it was in Winston-Salem. But, everybody told me, you have to get to Winston-Salem. And I came and I never stopped coming. I've been back, I think I've missed one festival since the first time I came, which was 2003. So it's tricky though. There's so many things out there now that the demand for people's attention, and it's in the palm of your hand. So to get somebody to get in a car and drive to the theater and maybe pay for parking, it's challenging. Mm-hmm. Again, once they do it, we feel they'll come back.
Else have any other questions, or please go to the website and check out more information and
ncblackrep.org.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you, Jackie. We appreciate it so much. It was
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Nigel. Thank you so much for helping me out today. This has been great. And we got some great connections. I mean, this is great.
That's fantastic. Okay, thanks everybody. Then we'll in the chat is the website. Great, thank you. And thanks everybody. We'll see you later, Jackie.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Everyone.